guys following directions. All right. Thanks for coming out. It's good to be here. I had a COVID scare last week. I was drinking a soda. I couldn't taste anything. And then I realized it was just a LaCroix. Alright, it's just the first joke. Relax. It's gonna get better, I promise. I'm a little rusty. My job's been illegal for the last year. Just been sitting around collecting unemployment, you know. Pretty humbling when the government is like, hey, we'll pay you to not tell jokes. I'm like, wow. I thought it was going okay, you know. Not gonna lie though, it was pretty nice when that $600 bonus was active. I was making like 80% of my normal salary as a comedian. But now I didn't have to pay for plane tickets or hotels or sex. I was saving. Hate that joke is so believable, but you know, vaccine's here, so I'm back to work. I got a jab. Who's vaccinated? Round of applause. Anybody? From the government. No, I got a vaccine, you know, although it was Johnson & Johnson, so I don't know if that counts. Thanks for coming to my last show. No, I gotta give Biden some credit though, you know, I think he did a great job getting the vaccine out quickly. And, I mean, obviously it helps to have a son who knows where to get drugs, but, that joke would have worked for either president. Calm down. I'm pretty liberal as a person. As a comedian, though, I think it's only fair to make fun of both sides a little bit. Some audiences don't appreciate that. There's a video on my YouTube channel of Trump supporters trying to boo me off stage if you're into that kind of thing. I wasn't really laughing at the time, but I was doing a show recently. This woman chased me down into the parking lot. She's like, you made fun of both Trump and Biden, but I couldn't tell. Which side are you on? I go, hey, my only allegiance is to the truth. And she goes, but that's Trump! And I was like, the opposite side of you. Yeah. Not much to talk about, you know. I don't know why people don't want to get the vaccine. I mean, I know there's rumors that there's like a microchip in the vaccine. I don't think that's true. I don't think there's a microchip in the vaccine. I do think there's a microchip in the MyPillows. I think that's what's going on. Somebody's connected to a little speaker that just whispers subliminal messaging. Every night as you lay down to bed, it's like, the election was stolen. The election was stolen. You're very manly. You know, what do they call those things? A white noise machine? That was a roller coaster of emotion. Wait a second. It's still pretty good. You gotta give them credit. A lot of cops don't want to get that vaccine, it seems like. They're all going viral on TikTok. Like, oh, after 27 years on the job, the governor can kiss my ass. It's very surprising to me. Usually cops are very eager to take a shot, but... Maybe cops want COVID around as long as possible because it attacks minorities better than they do. I know, they should stop doing that. I agree with you. Maybe a cop is like, look, I don't need a vaccine. I've already got qualified immunity. That protects me from pretty much trying to think how to word this next part, but I was like, no, I was just laughing because I was like, oh, of course that joke works really well in Portland, because, you know, you guys are like, we're not going to shoot fireworks tonight, we got to save them to aim at the police later. Don't make it so obvious. Look, here's how to fix all this, right? We need all the fired cops and all the fired flight attendants to switch jobs. We need more cops that'll just smile and hand you a Pepsi. And we need more flight attendants that'll beat the shit out of people. What is going on? We've all forgotten how to act in public the last year. I keep waiting for someone to freak out on my flight, you know? It hasn't happened yet, but I stay ready. Every flight, I just keep all my devices charged. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to get involved physically, I just want to film it. You know? I'm finally going viral! I'm following also, you know? Sorry I'm so divisive. I try not to be, you know? I actually dated a girl that was a Trump supporter for a couple months, you know? Just trying to do my part to reach across the aisle. You know? Or like reach around the aisle. She ended up dumping me because I kept making fun of Trump. That was like the big deal breaker for her. She ended up sending me like a 6-page breakup email. And at the very bottom she wrote, "It's a shame people let politics divide us like this." I was like, you're the one that's upset. I'm still trying to fuck you. I don't understand. You know, like, why can't we just come together? You know, I think if we just look at things from a different perspective, like doggy style, I know you would see. She tried to troll me during the election. She sent me a photo of her toenails, and they were painted red and blue with the words Trump on it. And I wrote her back and said, well, that's convenient, because once you're done with the nail polish remover, you can drink it and cure your COVID. It's a joke, relax. She's not going to drink bleach. She needs it to wash her sheets every night. But, this is like separate. This is not a group anymore. It's just like little pockets. It's dark, you got a mask on, no one can see if you're laughing, so just have a good time. I don't know. I gotta stop talking about my failed relationships on stage. Girls tell me all the time that they hate it, which is weird to me. I mean, Taylor Swift puts out an album about all of her exes. Everyone loves it. I write an album of my exes, and a judge tells me to stop playing it on her voicemail, track by track. It's such a double standard, you know? And look, it's not like I go out of my way to date a Trump supporter, but if she's great in every other way, and that's the main thing we disagree with, like, I'm cool with that, you know? I guess what I'm trying to say is if that ass is round, the earth can be flat. That's what I'm doing. I just hope we have a basic understanding of what we, you know, because it would be, like, time and space would be the main thing that would be tough to negotiate, you know? You know, you want to argue, like, no, our anniversary is next month, you're using the Mayan calendar again. We gotta get along with each other. I feel like you know, we had a year where we were only allowed to interact with people online, and now we're bringing our Facebook arguments into real life. And, it's not going well, you know? We gotta learn to agree, or at least disagree and disengage, you know? Because if you're liberal, you're gonna need conservative rights. Because one day, your car's gonna break down. And then what? I'll tell you what, 3 douchebag comedians on the side of the road. I don't even know why we opened this hood, to be honest. There's green shit everywhere. They did not cover this in my liberal arts degree. I don't know. You're gonna limp your way to a mechanic and he's gonna go, just give me 20 minutes. And you're like, all right, let's go, Brandon. You know. This is my favorite story of the year, by the way. If anyone's unfamiliar, there was a NASCAR driver named Brandon who won his first race, and they were interviewing him after the race, and the whole crowd behind him was chanting, "Fuck Joe Biden." And the interviewer either didn't know what they were saying or tried to deflect, and she was like, they're saying, "Let's go, Brandon." And now conservatives have just reclaimed that phrase as their own, you know, which is nice to see them take back something besides the N-word, but they think, you know, they're wearing t-shirts and they got merch, "Let's go Brandon" merch. They think they're triggering liberals everywhere. I'm like, hey, have fun. I was saying much worse shit about Trump when he was president. So you have fun with your... I do hope that, like, a trans athlete named Brandon wins an Olympic gold medal. You know? Hopefully one thing we can all take away from this last year, though, is recognizing the things that are actually important to all of us, right? And for me, I couldn't have made it through this year without family, with money. I mean, that means... My brother lives in Hollywood because he's a big-time movie director. You might have seen some of his work, actually. He does all the TV commercials for Taco Bell. That's real, by the way. That's his real job. That's a real job. I feel let down by my high school guidance counselor that was an option. He gets paid millions of dollars to go, when I yell action, eat the taco. I guess. It's not that hard. Stay away from the dog. He's a biter. Also, I've never been in a Taco Bell commercial. How is that possible? Have you seen my hair? It's perfect. Thought Hollywood was all about nepotism. Guess it doesn't run in my family. Thank you. Just explain that one. He's gonna need some help, so just write down his stuff. No, my brother's great. He's got 2 kids, so I go visit all the time. I still remember the day he told me I was gonna be an uncle, because he came downstairs after work and he was like, "We're having a baby and we need you to move out." It's like, "Treat family, this is bullshit." But the kids are great. They're 6 and 4 now, which is such a good age because they can actually walk and talk and get me stuff from the fridge. So it works out really well. But they're smarter than you think at that age. They're very perceptive, I noticed, because I had an incident. I always fly with a full-size pillow. And I'm sure people think it's weird and flight attendants make fun of me, but I don't really care. I just smoke a bunch of pot, get a window seat, and wake up in a new city. It's the best way to travel. I just time travel, you know? But recently I was visiting my brother, and his 4-year-old comes running up to me, and she goes, "You forgot your pillow here last time." I go, "Wow, how did you remember that it was my pillow?" She goes, "It smells like you." She doesn't know it yet, but, you know, in 10 years she could be at a Kanye show, like, "Hey, this concert smells like my uncle." Someone's burning rope over here. Trying to be a good example, it's tough. My brother set a good standard. He just got baptized for the first time at age 40. And when my parents found out about it, they started freaking out. And they called me up. They're like worried, you know? They're like, "We're worried about your brother. We need you to check up on him." I was like, "Hey, relax, you know? As far as the midlife crisis goes, Jesus is pretty mild. It could be worse. At least he's not buying a Corvette and abandoning his family, you know? Too close to home for Portland. I apologize. I didn't mean to bring up past trauma. But I told my parents, it's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Next time I'm down there, I'll call you." And then when I was visiting, I called my parents and go, "It's worse than we could have imagined. He's into Kanye." Not the old Kanye, the new Kanye. My brother loves Kanye West, Jesus, and fencing, so somehow I turned out to be the normal one. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with Jesus. It's good for his life and his family. It just sucks because sometimes he gets a little judgy when I want to catch a buzz. We took a family vacation recently and rented an Airbnb together. And at the end of the night, I opened the door to just smoke a joint on the porch. And my brother starts freaking out. He's like, "Don't do it out here. It's not legal. I don't want the neighbors to freak out." And I was like, "Wow, I knew weed made you paranoid, but I thought you had to smoke it first." Also, we're in Florida. I don't think they're going to care. You know? They'll just be happy I'm not doing bath salts, right? I get it. I used to be embarrassed that I smoked pot. Until I started touring America as a comedian, and I realized how popular Oxy got. And so, doing fine, you know? Drugs aren't a big deal to me. Drugs are like speeding, you know? Because speeding's illegal, technically. But as long as you're going with the flow of traffic, no one's gonna care, right? Yeah. But if you're going 80 and some guy flies by you at 150, it's like, who do you think the cops are going after? Exactly, the black guy doing 55. Could you guys get together and just decide? But I don't want to be a hassle, so I'm like, hey, you just tell me where to go, you're paying for the Airbnb, you know. He goes, oh, across the street, there's an abandoned field. Just smoke out there, because I don't want the neighbors to freak out. And I'm like, okay. So I'm standing in an empty field at 1 in the morning, like, yeah, this is worse, you know? I'm sure the neighbors are gonna peek out the window, see a tall, dark, shadowy figure in the middle of the night, a lighter flickering in the wind, you know, looking like a scarecrow came to life. I'm sure there'll be 0 911 calls about that in the morning. But it only takes a couple minutes to smoke a joint, so I'm out of there before anyone can freak out. And I'm trying to find my way back to the Airbnb, but it's one of those condos where all the buildings look the same. Yeah, so I'm in building J, trying to find building C, like a backwards alphabet DUI test. The whole point of this is not to freak out the neighbors, now tiptoeing through Nana's rose bushes, like peeking in windows. Is this C? Where am I at? Am I staying here? I don't want to freak out. Finally, I give up. I call my brother to come rescue me, and he does. And we get inside. He's giving me this big lecture on drugs and Jesus. And at the end of it, I go, so you're telling me, whenever you feel anxious, you just remember that Jesus loves you and everything feels better? He's like, yeah. I was like, that's what drugs do for me. You're talking to a guy who's not there. I have imaginary friends. We're not that different. I think you should try drugs. You probably like it, you know? That was about 2 years ago, and now he grows pot in his backyard. So, I won the conversion battle. Take that, Jesus. I just went through a breakup recently, but don't worry when I get her back with these jokes. It was a real surprise breakup. I didn't see it coming at all. I was always trying to keep things spicy in the bedroom, so we always played a game that was her favorite. It's called Sexy Librarian, which is where I'm not allowed to talk and she reads a book instead. I never got to be a librarian. Let's switch it up. We had a lot of communication issues, I realized. She was always trying to hint things to me during the relationship, but I'm an idiot, you know? One morning, she was like, I had a dream last night that you started working out, you got super ripped. It was so sexy. I'm like, oh. I had a dream that you accepted me for who I was. I won the battle, but I lost the girl, you know? Trying to get back out there, though. I was seeing this girl over the summer, and things are going really well. One night we were about to hook up, but she's got a random nosebleed in the middle of it. Just like out of nowhere, her nose started bleeding. At least that's what I told the cops. And, you know what's interesting about making out with someone who's bleeding? You don't know for a while. Because I'm not making out with my eyes open like some kind of creep, like, oh, I like to watch. No, I want to remember this. No, you just kind of go until you taste blood. Pennies. Wait, what? So that kind of killed the vibe for the night, you know? We never ended up having sex, and then just because of scheduling, we never got to hang out again. Like, I went on tour, and she didn't want to talk to me anymore. Ways. Then a couple months later, she showed up on a reality TV show called The Bachelor. Oh. I don't know if anyone watches this garbage, but it's one of those reality shows, right? They take 40 women, they make them live in the same house and date one guy, and they're not allowed outside contact with the world. It's like Survivor, but they let them shave, right? So she didn't end up marrying the guy from TV, but she went viral because her name's Katie, but they just called her the dildo girl the whole time. Because, like Survivor, you get to bring an emotional support item from home. And she brought a huge dildo. And now she's like a celebrity. She's got 1 million Instagram followers. And I feel like she owes me. Because if we'd actually had sex that night, she wouldn't be the dildo girl, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She'd be the very sexually satisfied reality show contestant. It's not getting anybody 1 million followers. I'm her origin story. She became the Bachelorette after that, which is very exciting. As soon as that happened, everybody I know was like, this is your chance. You gotta go on the show, and you gotta win her back. I was like, all right, let's cool it down. I don't need this to be my claim to fame, you know? Hey, I'm the guy who couldn't close the deal with the horny chick from TV. That's me, you know? TMZ's chased me through airports. This is the guy who got rejected by Snooki, you know? All right, thank you. No autographs, please. But now that the show is on, or has happened, you know, I'm so glad that they didn't pick me, to be honest. It would have been a disaster, because they're not looking for me. It's reality TV. They want symmetrical faces and white teeth. You know, every guy on there is like, oh, I'm a firefighter, but this is my orphanage I look after in my spare time, you know? Every intro is like, Greg's a hockey player, and then they show him playing hockey, and I'm like, what would they do with me, you know? Like, oh, Andrew's a comedian. It's just me jerking off into La Quinta. Stop doing this all the time. Sorry for the visual. He didn't even look away. You're welcome for the visual. I don't know. I'm actually really glad that the relationship ended like that, though, because there's closure. You know, most relationships end and you just don't talk to each other for a couple of years because of the judge. And but now I just get to watch TV and go, oh, well, it's obvious she still wants me. I mean, what does this guy have that I don't besides abs and a job? Oh, she picked the unemployed guy with a dad bod. All right, guess my personality sucks. That joke gets sad at the end. I'm a little embarrassed to admit that the next story is also true, but I got a little jealous of Katie. I tried to find love on television this year. Not from like a 900 number, but my manager forwarded me this casting call for a reality TV dating show, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do reality TV. But then I thought, you know, at least if I don't find love, it could be a great start to my political career, apparently. You know, they sent me this questionnaire to fill out, and it's, you know, all these things. Oh, what would you do if you won $1 million? And I was like, vote Republican. And, so this producer calls me, and she goes, hey, I'm with Discovery Channel. And I'm not even sure I'm supposed to tell you that it was Discovery Channel, but I never signed a contract, so fuck them. They go, we're working on a new dating show with an animal kingdom twist. You have to attract a mate in the wild using non-verbal cues. And I was like, oh, so you want me to like sniff her butt and pee on her leg or something? And she's like, you're hilarious. This is exactly what we need on the show. We need a comic relief. I'm like, okay. She goes, I'm going to forward you to the next round of casting, but I need you to play up the looking for love part more. I was like, wow, you're the first woman to ever tell me I don't come off desperate enough. So that's the trauma's healing, you know? So I get to the second round of casting, and it's this curmudgeon-y old lady who hates me. And this always happens. Whenever I get a job interview or an audition, it's like one person loves me, the second person hates me so much they want to fire the first person for even sending me through. So she's asked me all these questions. She's like, if you could describe your sex life using an animal, what would it be? And I was like, I'm like a cicada. I have sex every 17 years. She goes, she's not laughing at all. She just goes like, how do you spell that? And I was like, whoa. Wait, you want me to spell out the joke or cicada? Like, I'm confused. She goes, okay, well, that's a new one. Cicada, okay. She goes, what would your mating dance be? And I was like, can I pick a different animal? They told me to be desperate. I didn't know there's follow-up questions. She's like, no, cicada, it's original. It's unique. No one's picked that. You really stand out with the producers. Gee, I wonder why no one else picked it. Okay, mating dance. So I'm just standing there like this. It's a lot of laying down. I'm just in my bedroom jumping around, because it's a Zoom audition, by the way. Which is the worst part. Because if it's real life, like if this show goes poorly, that's fine. I can just not drive by this building ever again, you know? But when it happens in my house, I just gotta wake up every morning and go, that's where that shit happened. I got PTSD until I sell my house. Glad things are opening back up. Schools, I'm worried they open schools too. I mean, kids are giant balls of disease in the first place. There's no way this ends. That's probably why COVID doesn't affect them as much, right? Coronavirus enters a kid's body, all the other diseases are like, seats taken. Kids are basically giant bats. They hang upside down, they poop on everything. They use high-pitched screeches to move around. I think schools are very prepared for coronavirus. If a kid gets sick and dies, they already have plenty of chalk to outline the body. Well, you're not going to like the next couple of jokes. I'm glad they ended mask mandates for vaccinated people and liars. It's exciting. But they're coming back in places, which is fine. It's just confusing because, sometimes I forget to wear the mask because I don't leave the house anymore, I accidentally walked into a Whole Foods without my mask. Holy shit. It was like a near-death experience for me. I'm just minding my own business. People are following me around the store and filming me. There's a Karen in the corner going, call the police, he's gonna murder everybody. I think I accidentally discovered what it's like to be black in a Target. I told you wouldn't like it, but actually what's funny is I wear a Portland Trailblazers mask. I'm not trying to pander, I just, just because no one cares about it. In a good way. Because a mask is like a bumper sticker for your face, Like some people wear like a BLM or like a MAGA, and that could cause a fight, but no one ever looks at a Blazers mask and goes, oh, Portland, no! So you just fly under the radar. I live in Seattle, by the way, and so I picked up hiking as my pandemic hobby this year. What better for your depression than to be alone in the woods for 7 hours? Just looking over cliffs like, oh, I bet that would hurt, At least if I fell, I'd feel something. It's a joke, relax. You're not gonna see me on the news tomorrow. They wouldn't cover it. I was worried about bears at first because I'm a pussy, and I was doing some research. It's very confusing because online it says, like, oh, if it's a brown bear, do one thing, but if it's a black bear, do the complete opposite. I'm like, hey, that's fine, but how do I explain to the bear that I don't see color? I'm one of the good ones, bear. I went back online. It turns out there's like a nursery rhyme for bears. I've never heard this. It goes, if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. I think they got that from LAPD, actually. If it's a polar bear, you say, all lives matter, and he lets you go. Thank you. Careful with the clapping, I don't want to start a rally on accident. I got a shirt for sale after the show so the government doesn't know I make money. And it's a joke about people with fake service dogs. Because I have a friend that has a service dog, but it's a Chihuahua. I don't think that counts. She's like, no, it helps with my anxiety. I'm like, the dog shakes more than you do. If you need something for emotional support that fits in your purse, get a dildo. So it's just an emotional support T-shirt, right? Because if you don't have your service dog or your vape pen, you pet this guy, and it lines up with your nipples. You're like, I feel so much better. I need emotional support underwear. He's got a bowl full of pills, and the name tag says Xanax. Pick that up after the show. And then this one's a brand new T-shirt, just giving it a test run, see how it goes. It's about unity and togetherness and peace and love, and it's an elephant jerking off a donkey. That's that just says reach around the aisle, so buy it for your Republican friends. If you buy a shirt, I'll give you a free beer koozie, and I'll also sell it separately if you're an alcoholic. This has my social media on front, Andrew J. Rivers on whatever, you know, Instagram, YouTube, OnlyFans, that kind of stuff. So. And then there's a joke on the other side, because I saw a bumper sticker one time say, "Cars are like wives, if it ain't yours, don't touch." And I was like, what a dumb sticker. So I just made these that say, "Cars are like wives, I accidentally banged yours." Calm down. Look, don't worry, insurance is gonna cover it. She was totaled, am I right? Thank you guys very much.
If no one stands, I fucked up. One more time for Andrew Rivers.